All I'm saying is Billy Loomis is the best killer, and his mom should have done a better performance.
First off, that's complete and utter bullshit because we all know it's Stu Macher, aka Matthew Lillard, who's the greatest Scream character of all time. Everyone in the comics is going to agree with me. Oh shit, it's recording. Welcome back, guys, to the Den of Sin. Unfortunately for you, I'm your host, Chandler Allen Berry, and with me is my very confident and capable friend.
What's up? It's your boy.
Slug. Yeah.
Slug.
Oh my god! What's that clapping coming from the distance? Is that Willow?
Hi.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
It's been 2 episodes we've had you officially on? Yeah.
I don't know.
Me neither. You're in and you're out, and that's how we love you. But you're here now
Yay.
as a permanent fixture in this episode, which, Slug, would you want to introduce the topic?
Scream.
What?
Yeah, and so for the review part of this program, I had to rewatch and actually finish the Scream series, and I remember when we did the slasher.
Ringing, the slash.
Singing the dinging with the hash peeling. The slasher tier list. I didn't show Ghostface the respect that I have now gained for the actual concept of Ghostface.
Okay, let's talk about it. All right. So you watched almost all of these at work. Is that correct?
Yeah, I watched the first and second one last week, and then this week I've watched 3, 4, and 5.
We're such hard workers.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know that was research we do.
Wow.
Look, we do more work for the podcast than we do at work. But we do the work for the podcast at work, so it's like we're doing work at work.
But we're working.
But we're working.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my experience with Scream dates back to the very beginning. I actually can't tell you the first time I saw Scream. It's just always. But that's my.
That's your opening statement? I don't remember.
Well, that's my point. It's just like with a lot of these other movies. They've always been there. There wasn't like a moment where my parents. I don't want to say anything bad about my parents, but they've always had scary movies around me. They never prevented it. There's no censorship in the household. I saw things I probably should. That explains a lot.
I mean, they made an attempt with me. They're like, don't watch them. They at least explicitly told me not to.
The only time they get on to me was during, I think it was the remake of Texas Chainsaw, the scene where he's got
Really
the salt in his open leg wound, and they walked in, and my brother's like, "Oh shit!" and he tries to flip the channel because my brother exposed me to a lot of movies I shouldn't have watched. He's like, he would make me watch all the Chucky movies.
I think the only one when I was a lot younger that my dad was upset that I watched was Silence of the Lambs, and I think I talked about it when we were talking about
Briefly.
Yeah. He wasn't there was no discipline that came from it. It was more of I could see it on his face. He's like, no, not disappointment, just yeah, my kid shouldn't have seen that.
He's almost like he fucked up.
Yeah.
This is going to reflect negatively on me. No, I remember when I was 2 or 3, sitting on the love seat with my ma watching, the original Friday. I couldn't remember which one it was at first, but it was the original Friday the 13th, and she just sat there and made me watch it with her. And distinctly, I recall it scaring me. I was frightened by that movie at the age of 2 and 3. And my mom was like, "What are you, a pussy?" In layman's terms, it's not quite what she said, but essentially, in a roundabout sort of way, why are you scared of this slasher film? And so after that point moving forward, it was it's not something to be scared of. I was aware it was a film. My parents didn't act like it was a big deal, and because it wasn't a big deal, I grew up not thinking it was. Simply put. And so I always knew about the Scream movies. They were always there in my life. It was always an experience I had. And so for that reason, they're special. I love these movies. Halloween, all the slashers, they're very important. But Scream in particular is important because it's a love letter to the people who already love these films. So Wes Craven made it as an ode, as a love letter to the kind of films I already grew up on. Willow, what's your experience with Scream?
So, I wasn't allowed to watch any horror movies growing up in my parents' house because my mom thought that it was worshiping the devil, and that included like Halloween, um Friday the 13th, like Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream. So I never really got the chance to watch any of the horror movies, but I have like a very faint memory of watching it or watching the first ever Scream at my cousin's house when I was spending the night. And that was so long ago. Like I was really really young at that time. I don't remember anything about it. I have not seen another like Scream movie after that point. Like I just watched Scream 5. I haven't seen the other ones. That's my only like actual experience with Scream after just not seeing any of the other movies besides the first one.
Which, ironically enough, Scream 5, by the way, guys, spoilers for literally every Scream movie. Scream 5 itself being a quote-unquote requel to quote Mindy Meeks, Randy's niece. Yeah. To quote her, yeah, it's a requel. And a requel just being a retread of the original, almost like in the same vein as the retread earlier ground, The Force Awakens. It's essentially what a requel is.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Or Texas Chainsaw 2021.
Yeah, it's just it's getting rid of the fluff in between. When people are like, oh, this is when the series, this is when the franchise started going downhill. It was after the first movie. So they cut out all the sequels afterwards and then made a direct sequel to the original. It's essentially what this movie is doing by saying that 2, 3, and 4 are just bad. And we need to go back to basics. We need to go back to the formula that the first movie established by doing the exact same thing that it did. So it's interesting.
Exact same house.
In the exact same house, yes. So the fact that you saw the original and went straight to 5 is what the killers of 5 would have intended.
Yep.
That's what they wanted. They wanted you to see 1 and 5. So you got the true experience, this true Scream experience, according to Amber and Richie.
I also got the true Scream experience when I was curious, and I was scrolling through Twitter one day, and I ended up stumbling upon some pretty scarring art of Ghostface, and I think we all know what kind of art it was.
Was he in very compromised positions?
It wasn't him that was in the compromised positions.
Whoa.
I know.
Risque.
That was the day that I found out that people have a kink for being myrtled. A little uncomfortable.
Slug,
Yes, sir.
your experience with this franchise.
Very short. Until like the past 2 weeks. I saw this first Scream movie and exactly how the movie was supposed to make me feel. It was too meta. I was mad. Saw the second one, meta, and even more mad. And then I'm like almost 80% sure I've seen the third one before rewatching them all. But as of the past 2 weeks, I've grown a more fondness for the Scream series and the vision that Wes had.
Watching them back to back will do that to you.
Yeah.
So let's get into our finer thoughts and opinions. Now, I want to do this film by film. And then we're going to end off on 5, which is a new experience for both of y'all. So I want you guys to share your thoughts on that. And then we're going to start talking and speculating about Scream 6 and getting the theories. And why absolutely 100% it's a confirmed fact that Stu Macher, a.k.a. Matthew Lillard, a.k.a. the man behind the slaughter, is actually the killer in Scream 6.
Is he in the cast?
No. They're saving this as a surprise. Trust me. I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I've been on Reddit. just like Richie and
Mindy.
Mindy, yeah, just like Mindy. All right, Wes Craven's 1996 original. Let's get into it. First off, before I even talk about the film itself, let's talk about that guy. What's his name? The guy who made the movie.
Wes Craven.
Wes Craven. Yeah, that's the guy. Let's get into him. Now, sure, the guy started off a little risky doing pornographic material, but I think he evolved his form, his art craft, and he got into more cinematic films, such as The Hills Have Eyes, which you watched with Willow recently. Willow, you didn't care for that movie much.
No, I mean, I did. It was just a matter of there were small things in the movie that I just kind of was like, hey man, because like I think that I enjoyed the concept of the movie. I could see like the thought of it. It's a pretty scary idea, you know, being stranded with your family and everyone's going out like one by one or two by two by like these savages, you know, people that are living on that land that they're stranded on. But it was like it was more so just I guess some of the acting. Like when for example, when the mother, you know, and spoilers ahead, but when the mother ended up, you know, dying and shit, the daughter had more emotion than the son did. She was more affected by it, and her performance was really good in the movie, I think. But the son was just so careless about it. Like that's his mom, and she's dead, and he's not grieving. I don't know. It was something. It's as small as that, but it just makes me like I can't get past that. So I wasn't a big fan of the movie, but overall, I thought it was pretty a cool concept.
Right. It's a start.
It's a start.
No, it's not his first work, but let's hit landmark films because it's very important to talk about what leads up to Scream. You can't talk about Scream without talking about his earlier films because I hate to say it like this, the original Scream is Wes Craven stroking himself off. Let's be real. It's a very masturbatory experience of Wes Craven just blowing his load all over the theater screen. I mean, we'll get into better examples of that, but after that, you got, of course, what's the next big, huge milestone for him? Nightmare on Elm Street. Again, there's plenty of references sprinkled throughout the first Scream of Nightmare on Elm Street, paying homage to his earlier works, but he knows he's the man. Wes knows that he's the king of horror. In the musical space, Ozzy might be the Prince of Darkness, but I think in the movie space, it's either John Carpenter or Wes Craven. They're the two gods of this realm. They reign supreme. So when we get to 1996 Scream, we have an accumulation of years, decades of work. Let's just remove the pornos for a second. Just look at his horror. It's good. It's really good. And he clearly loves the genre that he has become the king of. And Scream is a prime example. Slug, tell me your thoughts and opinions on the first Scream.
They pulled a Psycho at the very beginning of the film, which I appreciated. It's so funny, I guess, from the perspective of me seeing it not being the target audience in the 1990s, because I don't know where Drew Barrymore's from. Really don't know anything about the actress, but I just know that it was a big thing to have Drew Barrymore, or that's her name, right?
Yeah. To have people go to the theater, probably specifically because her name's attached to the project.
Yeah. It's like having Jamie Lee Curtis's mom be killed off at the beginning of Psycho. Just the same big actress name, and you're going to kill it off at the very beginning. But it's so weird going into it, having the expectation that I'm supposed to know who that is, why Drew Barrymore is like, it's supposed to be a shock. Like, oh my God, they killed her at the very beginning. I was more excited about seeing Matthew.
Yeah. But you probably knew it was Shaggy before. Funnily enough, I knew him as Stu before I knew him as Shaggy. So, I'm a bit. I actually did chronologically. Um,
I watching it I could tell that I've seen quite a few Wes Craven films, and I definitely think um, he's just stroking himself off. Like honestly,
you see what I mean, though,
because
right?
not only is it with the meta humor about horror in general, but the fact that my second favorite scene in the movie, and if we walk through it, we'll go back and go play by play what happens in the movie. But my second favorite scene in the movie is when the Fonz was like, "You're out here, asshole," and Wes Craven is a janitor with the with Freddy's sweater and hat goes, "Huh? What? Prick." And we had the joke when I first rewatched it. I was telling you, I was like, I really hope that was not originally in the script. He's like, I got the stuff in my car
Right now, the original hat and the original sweater.
Yeah.
Right now,
I got all the new Nightmare stuff still in the back of my car.
Oh, you can. It just occurred to me. That could even be because everything's meant. Everything means something. That could be Wes himself saying he's mopping up other directors in their mistakes in the genre. I didn't even think about him dressed up as the character he created, mopping up the floor, pretty much saying, "I got to fix y'all's mistake. I got to do the cleanup work for you." I don't know. It sounds like we're bashing Wes Craven, but he's the man. So,
he is the man.
Yeah.
No, I in terms of first movies, I like Hills Have of Eyes more than the first Nightmare on Elm Street, but I definitely think Scream isn't better than Nightmare on Elm Street. Personally,
Not the original, anyways.
at least, yeah. But the perspective of Drew Barrymore getting killed, the self awareness, not just the humor, but the idea that I am God, I am horror, I am the horror, you know, and having a really good script with really good actors, it just paints this picture of like it being like almost a perfect horror film for horror fans. It's really good. If you're still listening and you still for some reason haven't seen the first Scream movie, that's all I recommend. You don't have to see the rest of them. Just see the first one.
It's true for most of the movies we talk about.
Yeah.
The first is almost always the best. I'm trying to think of an example in which that's not the case.
For me, the second one is the best. Scream 2 is the best.
Though you would recommend people just see the first one. And
Yeah,
if they like the first one, they're already
The story is
sold.
so much. There's terms of reason. I'll get to it when we talk to two, but just so that nobody's raising pitchforks immediately, I'm just like, no, I acknowledge Scream 1 is the better film. I just personally enjoy the second one because there's more gore. There's more.
We've talked about your excessive love of violence.
The more body count and how Randy is so good and it's so good. Gail comes together more as the character that I have really enjoyed watching throughout the whole 5 movies. Dewey is all still kicking ass, still a great guy. One of my favorite characters is one of 2 of my favorite characters in the second one, even though he's in all of them. It's just his particular performance in 2 was my favorite of him. Obviously, I love Billy and Lou or Stu more than any of the rest of the killers. Obviously, they're the best killers. Just as I said, I know objectively Scream is the best one in the series. But I just enjoy 2 more for more the character development of the characters we see in the first one. Obviously the kills and stuff. But for Scream 1, right out of the gate, I hate Cindy. I hate Cindy so much. I think she's so annoying, and her character just keeps getting like the writing for the character, like with benefit of the doubt and not being too harsh, just plateaus. You know, she fits her role, and she just plays the same character over and over again, doing almost exactly the same thing over and over again. Which some of the other supporting cast does too, but at least there's some kind of development with Gail and Dewey and Randy. We see how he handles it from the first movie, the first murders and stuff, seeing how everybody else reacts. But in our final statements, I'll probably be saying the same thing. But Sydney's character just gets almost demoted to just not only is she self-aware, but the fact she knows she's not going to die, no matter who's trying to kill her. At a certain point, she knows that I'm not going to die. She has plot armor. Literally, she almost knows it with saying almost every movie. Her thing is just doing one-liners.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah,
I'm Sidney fucking Prescott. Real Karen energy there.
yeah.
Nev Campbell. Real Karen energy.
Because I don't think she. It's good that I don't like her character because it keeps me interested in seeing if she's gonna get killed with each new movie. Just hoping she dies.
That's what's fueling the fire to keep you watching.
Yeah, I was really hoping with 5, but I was really hoping with 4, and then I was really hoping with 5.
There's always 6. Oh wait, she's not in that one. God, she's the killer.
Yeah.
We'll get the theories.
Uh-huh.
Sorry,
Uh-huh.
I'm jumping the gun.
Okay. Scream 1. Objectively the best film in the series. I really enjoyed it. Obviously we know Billy Boy, and Stu are the best killers. But in terms of the characters, my 2 favorite were Stu and I guess Billy. Yeah, I was really trying to think of any other character that stood out to me because Randy.
The Fonz, bro.
No, he was splayed up on the flagpole. He had it coming.
Goalpost. Yeah.
He had it coming. But Randy and Stu are my favorites. Billy is right there. But it's just Gail is a bitch in the first movie, and she kind of gets better throughout it, but you kind of understand her better throughout the series. So it's not like she's just a bitch. She's not. She actually has development and stuff. And Dewey, the whole series, you just grow with this person that you get to. He's the most developed character in the entire series.
Honestly, probably the most likable next to Randy.
Yeah.
Which is probably why they're both your favorites. You know what my one critique in the first movie is? It is such a weird thing. Because, guys, let me just say this. I have no problems with these movies. We're just trying to conversate here. So if we nitpick, it's just for the sake of conversation. We love these movies, all of them. Some more than others.
Stretch to find some problems with these movies.
Oh, yeah, I just have to make crap up. I'm pulling this out of my ass, but if I actually had to be serious for a moment, everyone, bring it back down the earth. Bring it back down to earth. My major complaint is the fucking bangs on Sidney Prescott. I want to cut her hair so bad. Same thing with Billy. I want to just like get the hair out of their eyes. There's always hair like in their eyes. You know what I mean? It bothers me. I want to cut their hair. Anyways, Randy, he's a stand-in for all of us. He represents us all as horror fans. He gets us. He really does. Now, Willow, you've seen the original, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Please, do you remember anything?
No, because I figured out how old I was when I watched the original.
How old?
13.
You were 13?
13.
It's a good age to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, when you brought up the scene with the director and him being the janitor, I remember that. But
That's
like I don't know, like it just popped up in my head, and I just got like a feeling of nostalgia almost. But no, like I don't remember a lot about it, unfortunately. I apologize.
You don't have a lot more to say about 5, considering you just watched
Literally,
it. Like, what, 2 hours ago?
maybe an hour.
Yeah, not very long ago. The first movie, mwah, Chef's Kiss. It's a great film. It's been done to death. It's because it's like the horror stand-in for horror movies. Like the genre itself is personified in this piece. It's been done to death. It's been reviewed to death. I'm not sure what we can add that's any different than what other people have said. But if there's any other outstanding moments that have stood out to you that you want to talk about,
The fact that when he goes, "Why did you do it, Stu?" Peer pressure. Peer
it's so
pressure.
relatable. Oh yeah, Stu. Personally, I think Stu's got a condition. I don't think he. I'm not saying he's stupid, right?
Uh-huh.
If catch my drift. I just think he's not all there. And
He thinks he was living in a movie, like genuinely,
yeah,
but not
he's-
from like the perspective of that means I could just kill everybody and get away with it. No, he sees himself in a movie that there's consequences if he gets caught. So he pictures himself as the killer when he is. So that's like how you were saying how you've almost pieced it together exactly when Billy killed somebody and when Stu killed somebody.
They do it
Stewie's is more graphic, more violent, and Bill's is more calculated.
Oh yeah, because Stu's is just brutal, and there's not a lot of brutality in the Scream movies. Because, but okay,
Four.
maybe 4.
Or they
for
pick
sure.
it up with 4. But that's the joke. We'll get there.
Scream is like Guns N' Roses, and like other horror franchises, or it's like Korn and Slipknot. It's like there's a progression there, but like Scream it's got gore, it's bloody, but it's not that bad. And all the damn killers, they use the same knife, like the same kind of knife every time. Like they don't change it up. They don't use a butcher knife. They don't use like any other kind of knife. It's like the same weapon. They use the gun sometimes. That's a lot of complaints about the Scream 6 trailer, by the way, is that, oh my god, Ghostface is using a shotgun. He's always used a gun.
Yeah.
It's something new. I don't know why that's such a big deal. Shut up! We're doing a podcast. We're talking about Scream. All right, back to it. Also, Scream, right? So, the characters. I can't think of another horror franchise in which the characters are so prominent. The ones that you root for. I know you hate Sidney Prescott to the very core, and the sole reason you watch the movies is to watch her die a very gruesome death.
Yes.
However, the movies are carried by the characters more so than any other franchise I could personally think of. Dewey, Gale, Randy. Randy dies in fucking 2. And his presence is felt in every movie afterwards. They understand this. They can't get rid of the legacy characters. They're the heart and soul of this franchise, and they're great. There's not many franchises where I can name the characters off. I'm like, I love that guy. I love that guy. I love her. I want them to live. We watch our movies, watch people die, and we root for like the final girl, or in the case of Evil Dead, we root for the final guy. That's rare. I think Terrifier 2 is one of the few movies in recent years where I'm like, oh, Sienna, I like her. She's cool. She's badass. Scream, though, is one of the few that's the characters really shine.
Almost everybody you want to live.
Just about.
Yeah.
Even the killers themselves are entertaining. Like with now that we've talked about Scream 1, let's move on to Scream 2, because I love Timothy Olyphant in Scream 2. And the 2 killers in that. Which, come on, what a great reveal, Scream 2. I know we're doing this a little backwards, but Billy Loomis's mother, the way he says that, it's like, because even the audience is like, holy shit, Billy's mom? It's
such a good, like, not even like a believable twist, but enough to like be like, what? And then she walks in after Gale.
At least, I'll give it credit, because it's definitely like a Pamela Voorhees thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
They're not ripping off, but they kind of do a little Friday the 13th thing there. But it works better than Friday the 13th, despite the fact that it's doing like a homage to it, because in Friday the 13th, as we said in our Slashers episode, Pamela shows up in the last like 10-15 minutes of the movie with absolutely no lead up whatsoever.
Right.
At least Billy's mother's in the movie.
Yeah, she has maybe like 4 scenes, 3 or 4.
If that, and a few lines of dialogue, mostly with Gale. So they have this back and forth already. And she doesn't like her, but like that's something. she's there. She's a presence in the movie. So when she shows up, it's like, who is? Oh yeah, it's that person, and it clicks and it makes sense. And did you like Timothy Oliphant in the movie? Mickey.
Like right out of the gate, I knew it was him. Like
Most of these are kind of like that because like even the first one you knew was Stu and Billy almost immediately. At least I did. Then again, it was always a movie I knew about. So
I knew it was always Billy. Like from the first time watching Scream, I knew it was Billy, but Stu, it could have been Randy or Stu. You know.
Randy was really a red herring.
Yeah. Two, it was just too obvious right out of the gate that it was Mickey for me to be like have a connection with the character. I think the reveal that it's his mom makes you want to rewatch the movie and see the actual interactions with her because it still feels like it's out of nowhere.
It gives her rewatchability.
Yeah. But it's the red herring with the boyfriend again. You know, double down with the boyfriend to suspect the boyfriend. And honestly, it's one of the first times in like a slasher film, other than Terrifier 2, when the girl gets bone tomahawked.
The first Terrifier.
Yeah, the first Terrifier. I feel bad for the boyfriend.
Cotton?
No. The boyfriend.
Oh,
Sydney's boyfriend too.
Yeah.
Well, no, Cotton. I do
kind of want to talk about Cotton. Just like the fact that as a red herring, it doesn't work because it's so heavy-handed. They're leaning so much into the fact that Cotton is the killer that you know it's not him. And that's the art, the fine art about doing whodunits, especially with Scream. It's like if they're too much of a red herring, it's like 50-50 that they're actually the killer or they're just not. But then you got people who you don't suspect at all, and they're barely in the background. They're just like they're essentially sidekick characters that's off to the side, barely have any lines of dialogue. That itself is incriminating. So they're either at the forefront, and it's like, okay, that makes sense, or they come out of left field with a mean hook and it just decks you in the face. You're like, who the hell even are you? Where did you come from? Pamela Voorhees. But again, I'll give Scream 2 more credit. It reveals a little better.
I think I guessed too much talking about Scream 1 about Scream 2. So I don't know if there's any more notes I can really make on it other than they never want to just take the mask off. They're always just, let's run. You know? Like when the guy was knocked out in the car, they could have taken the mask off at any point. And then when they got out of the car, she could have just shot him again right there. Instead, they would decide to run off, and then her friend gets killed.
There's more holes in this series than a whorehouse. There is so many inconsistencies, so many cliches, so many, why didn't you do this? You should have done that. If we're a series harping on cliches, on plot holes, on plot devices, using meta commentary itself as the plot device, it's a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying because just because you're pointing out what you're doing doesn't make it clever. It doesn't make it different. You're drawing more attention to the fact that there is an inconsistency. Why didn't they pull the mask off? Why didn't they shoot him that one extra time? The first one, I think, does excellent with that. Like, make sure you put that last bullet in their head. Later entries, I don't think, use the meta commentary to its benefit.
I think they just do it for the joke.
It's a joke.
But a good example is when Sydney gets her first phone call from Ghostface, and she's being all caring about it. He's like, it's just disrespectful to women to cast as being these stupid. While you could have run out the front door, but they ran upstairs, and then she proceeds to run upstairs.
Do the exact, and it's played for a joke, and it is funny.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It is funny, but there's only so many times where the joke works.
Mm-hmm.
And the series does this over and over again, where it's pointing out the cliche that everyone's already familiar with. We're aware of these. Pointing it out doesn't make it any more clever. You know,
Right.
Scream 2. I know you're a numbers man. You're all about stats. You're about that KD ratio. It's definitely ups the ante for sure, and sets higher stakes. But if you want to talk meta, whew, let's get the 3.
Yes.
Let's get the 3. A movie about a movie. Oh, excuse me. Uh, this is something that we don't have to talk about, but I do want to point it out. Let's talk about the very beginning of 2 real quick before we go to 3. And your thoughts on that kill.
The glory hole one, or like it's not glory hole, but
That's an interesting way to describe it.
I haven't seen 2. Can you describe the?
No.
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 We're gonna give absolutely no. If you know,
Just-
you know.
Yeah, Jada Smith is in it, and I hate her.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Will Smith's.
Oh, Jada.
Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. That's the
Wait.
chick.
Oh.
She plays
Yeah.
Gloria in Madagascar. Yeah.
Oh. Fuck.
Anyway, she's terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let
Oh,
me
yeah.
not talk about Madagascar.
Her performance in Scream 2 is terrible.
Don't worry. She dies immediately at the beginning,
It was
and no one
very
gives a shit.
satisfying.
No one cares. Absolutely nobody. She dies in front of an audience, and no one cares. You would have been cheering. And speaking of cheering, isn't like that wasn't even the premiere night. It's like the night before the movie,
Right. Yeah.
the Stab is released.
First Stab movie.
Yeah, the first Stab movie. Can you imagine going to see that movie and everyone's dressed up as Ghostface and throwing popcorn at the screen? I'd want a refund on my ticket. I'm trying to watch the damn movie. It just came out. Why is everyone dressed up like a real life serial killer, running around throwing popcorn at everybody and screaming and running around like a bunch of fucking 5-year-olds?
Would you feel safe dressed as Ghostface in the theater?
Yeah.
Or yeah, that's the first thought I had. Is like if not even thinking that there was going to be another movie, or it being like it was based like if they did in poor taste, like kind of the books and the Stab series kind of imitate. So if they did a movie, like they wrote a book about actual serial killers, or like even now I'm thinking about it because he's in 4. So Lords of Chaos was originally a book, and then they made it into a movie. But it's already kind of disgusting because it's about a bunch of mentally ill kids who are plagued with jealousy and wanting to be somebody. So they do all these drastically evil things to be the most evil so that they can be somebody. And to make that
Wow.
a movie is so... It's like out of taste, but it's like at this point, it's up to
It's out of
interpretation.
pocket, but you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Using I was going to say the Misfits, excuse me. Using Mayhem as an example for like Ghostface. It's oddly fitting.
I mean,
Because it's all
your
about
anonymous as actor is in 4.
before he himself gets stabbed.
Yeah, he stabs people. Like I made that joke after watching it. I was like, your anonymous stabbed people in this movie, and then later for Lords of Chaos, he gets stabbed.
Yeah.
I'm
it's
saying
fitting.
you're anonymous because I know it's McCulkin, but I have difficulty saying his first name. But
We'll just call him Euro.
yeah,
Everyone
You're
knows what we're
anonymous.
talking about.
and they thought like it's like I get it if you don't want to get into mayhem or black metal, but
We saw
you
it.
know.
Man. That's crazy. We
You
saw
know.
it. Wow. Well, we're going to talk about concert experiences at some later point.
We
But,
did see mayhem. That's
It's wild, surreal, like a fever dream. Can't believe that actually happened. We'll get into that experience. Sure. But yeah, But like how Mayhem wanted to commit evil acts for notoriety, to simply put themselves out there, make a name for themselves through evil acts. I mean, that's really the motivation for a lot of killers in the real world.
I
Mass
wanna-
shooters, even.
I want to just add that I don't think it was just mayhem. There was tons of other Norwegian black metal bands that were participating and stuff. I just don't want to single
They
them
just
out.
got, they just got they got the fall.
yeah,
but like-
because of actually Bart Vargas. You know,
Right.
actually murdering his band member after already been accused multiple times of burning churches. It's just they were just waiting for that one extra charge so they could put him away.
Putting deads death photo, his suicide photo, as the album cover, and then giving all the bandmates fragments of his fucking skull. Pretty metal, bro.
It is pretty metal.
Pretty metal. All the Ghostfaces wish they were on that level. Oh yeah, Ghostface.
We gotta talk about Scream.
Scream. Yeah.
Don't get me going about black metal.
I know it's always a constant struggle to hold it in. But yeah, actually, even Ghostface has the black and white aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's all related. It's all tangential.
He's
So
in corpse paint. That's what it is. It's not a mask. Okay.
Yes,
Scream 3.
Scream 3. Let's good.
Yeah, let's stay focused. We were right there. We were right at the beginning.
We were always straddling the line, anyways. Yes, Scream 3. It's a bit too meta. I love the movie because, like, a lot of people, with the exception of 5, I think most Scream fans would say 3 is the weakest link in the series. And if that's the weakest movie you got, you're doing pretty damn good. If this is the worst your series has to offer, you're doing fantastic.
For me, the third one is my third favorite.
So 2, 1, 3.
Yes, 2, 1, 3. Yeah, I don't think I'm. Yeah, I might be a little different for actually enjoying it more than 4 or 5. I mean, you said that. I don't know if we said it off the clock, but I don't know if you've said it yet. But 5, you think is the weakest.
5 is my least favorite.
Yeah,
because 3 is different. Yes, it's incredibly meta, almost to its detriment. I would say to its detriment, it's too meta. There's just layers and layers and layers. It's almost like it's horror's equivalent to Inception. It's like Christopher Nolan's Inception. There's just layers. You just kind of drown in it. And you just want like a regular, normal movie-going experience. But I describe Scream like Gabe Newell in Valve.
you did.
So Gabe will not create a game unless it's advancing the art form, unless it's advancing technology. I'm still waiting for Half-Life 3. I will probably get Scream 10 before I get Half-Life 3. I want Portal 3. I just want a damn third game. Hell, Team Fortress 3.
Oh, fuck. I haven't heard that name in so long.
I
Yeah.
haven't heard that name in years.
Really quick, you played the game, right?
Yeah, I had the orange box and on the Xbox 360.
Who was your main?
My main?
Your main.
Scout.
Scout, did you play
It
it?
wasn't my favorite character, but mechanic-wise, Scout was my favorite.
Okay.
Who? Oh, I guess my favorite character is the Aussie, the Australian guy, the sniper.
Oh, yeah. I don't actually remember his name.
That and the engineer. The engineer's so wholesome. He plays a guitar. I love that guy. He's so sweet and wholesome.
I like Pyro.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
I think it's an interesting note that first movie, Billy Loomis. Second movie, Billy Loomis's mom. Third movie, it's Sydney's brother.
Roman Polanski.
Yeah. 4, it's Sydney's cousin. And Scream 5, it's Billy Loomis. Well, not so much, but like it revolves around
Always.
Billy Loomis.
Always.
It's either something that has to do with Sydney or something that has to do with Billy.
Billy is the anchor from which all things spring forth. He is the center point, the nexus point for everything that happens. But Roman being the killer in 3, how do you feel about that? As a killer, as a character? Because you said you felt kind of, just like the movie is like the middle ground.
That's the best way to describe him, because if we look at the different killers, it's kind of like already set. Which are the best killers and which, because they're already laid out in order.
Right.
It's not like the movies get worse or the quality gets worse, but you can definitely see a different writing style in 5, but we'll get there. For everybody who knows,
Gee, I wonder why.
There's a reason. R.I.P. But it's kind of already like laid out of like not only just the best stories, the best characters, the best kills. for some of these. But most importantly, in terms of the killers, Roman is just sandwiched between good killers and not so good. But like, it's interesting too because he was the sole killer in three.
He's the entire franchise. Scream 3 is the only one that had a single killer. No, I didn't complete my thought, and that's my bad. I derailed myself here. The reason I brought up Gabe Newell and Valve Games in general is that they will refuse to make a new game unless it advances the tech. That's how I feel about Scream. That was my ultimate point with that, that really weird tangent that ended with let's talk about Team Fortress characters. But that's what Scream is. Scream is as a franchise is always evolving. It's changing. It's being different. That's why later entries after this one, I feel like kind of dip in quality. Not from a writing perspective, though I think that's the case with 5, or even with characters. My issue with every movie after 3 is that it doesn't do anything new with the genre. You can say whatever you want about that third film, but it's different. As meta as it is, it's a very different movie, even having just a single killer. And his motivation is really unique. And probably the single most interesting, other than Billy and Stu, for obvious reasons. Other than them, he's the most interesting to me. As a character and as a killer. Let's dive a little deeper into your thoughts on his motives. What do you think about his actual motives?
It makes him more in line with Bill.
No.
Billy blames Sidney for his parents' divorce because his dad cheated on his mom with Sidney's mom, and Roman is upset with Sidney's mom because he was the illegitimate child and just completely just shut him out. You're not my kid. I don't know who you are. Get off my porch. And just has so much hatred for her mother. And it kind of like, I wouldn't say bothers me, but it's kind of just convenient that
Love it's convenient. Yeah.
that Roman worked with Billy
Just so by happenstance.
to
Yeah.
orchestrate her mom's killing, which is interesting because it's not like, I would feel like if they worked together on that killing, that they would work together with, it wouldn't be Stu, it would be Roman working with him for the kills in the first movie.
You can feel that they just made it up. Like with other movies, they do a really good job at kind of like backsliding and filling in those gaps, but they try to make it make sense. This one is the reason a lot of people don't like it because there's no build up for it. Just like with Pamela Voorhees, it happens and you're like, what?
I'm your brother.
What? It comes out of, again, left field. So just like how Cotton is the red herring in the second film, how do you feel about the detective being the red herring in the third?
I really liked it. Yeah, it almost got me. Like, I was almost like, that's him. But again, with the rewatch, I kind of already knew it. Going in, I knew it was Roman.
You did?
Because I had seen it before. 1, 2, and 3 are the only ones that I've seen.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And no, going in, I knew that it was Roman, but it was like, oh, maybe I remember it differently. Because I knew Roman was a killer, but I had forgot that there was only one killer. So after seeing 1, 2, I'm like, okay, there's going to be a second killer. And I assumed it was the detective.
It works. Also, Roman, for a single killer, he's got some carnage candy going on. He's pretty good. It's a shame that he doesn't get reused in any capacity or even referenced.
No,
Like,
you would
it's
think
always
Sidney's brother would be.
It's a big deal,
Yeah.
but we always go back to Billy and Stu. None of the other killers ever get referenced. It's always back to them, which, I mean, we love them. They're the best, but these other guys are important too, especially her fucking brother.
Yeah.
You think that'd be mentioned at some point? Just broad and casual conversation, as you casually discuss traumatic events, as we oftentimes do. 4.
Speaking of Sydney's family,
Yeah, just let's keep that going. The familial ties going.
I really like this one. I enjoy the meta humor more on this one. It's kind of more like when I think of new horror movies, I think of everything after like 2015. So like everything before it, like the Texas Chainsaw remakes, those kind of remakes, that era of horror, I'm familiar with more than I am with newer movies and 90s movies.
Right.
So with all the references to those kind of movies, I really, really enjoyed it. I loved how the joke is that it's going to be gorier, and it is gorier because it's supposed to be like a remake.
Mm-hmm. Right. My experience with this movie is a little different than the first 3, because the first 3, as I was saying, was just omnipresent. Just always knew what the plot of those films were. With 4, it's the first time that I was able to actually see it in theaters. So I can recall and remember the day I saw it. And it's made even more memorable by the fact that the day I saw it apparently was supposed to be the end of the world.
2012.
No, it was 2011. But nonetheless, there was still a bunch of people outside with signs and pamphlets talking about the end of days. And I asked my mom, she's like, oh, yeah, these people believe that the world's supposed to end on this day in 2011 instead. That the Mayans got it wrong about 2012. It's actually 2011. So outside the theater, there's a very small group of people talking about the world ending. So the entire time I'm watching the movie, I'm not scared about what's happening on screen. 10-year-old me is scared shitless that the world's going to end while I'm watching it, and I'm not going to be able to finish the movie. That was my concern. I wasn't going to be able to finish it because the world's going to end. So it's maybe that's probably one of the most memorable experiences watching the movie. Ironically enough, right next to the movie 2012, also about the end of the world. Great film. Get to that too one day. But for this
Sci-fi.
one,
Sci-fi.
you've seen it?
I know it's a sci-fi movie.
It's the natural disaster movie of natural disasters. The day after the tomorrow, fuck off. But yeah,
I've seen that one.
So yeah, this movie came out in 2011, but it's a big gap from 3. I guess Wes Craven just after home runs, like decided to take a break, chill out. He doesn't want to exhaust all his creative fluids all at once, so he kept it in his pants for a decade. And then finally, he's like, people didn't receive 3 all too well. Let me end on a higher note, go out with a bang. So he came out with 4. And it's a pretty solid entry. I still like 3 more. 3 is just enjoyable. It's so cartoonish and goofy that it kind of breaks all the sense of realism and groundedness that the previous films had. 4 kind of dials it back again. Yes, it's bloodier, it's gorier, but at the same time, it feels more down to earth. Like this is real stuff that's happening to real people. This could actually happen in your neighborhood. I think so. I think it brings it around town, back to basics.
I love Charlie. I wanted Charlie and Kirby to work so bad. It was so
I like the guy that was with Charlie.
I didn't like him.
You didn't like him at all?
Or the opposite, yeah.
You didn't like him? Because he's the Randy stand-in for this movie.
Yeah.
Because even Randy's in 3, even though he dies in 2.
Oh, we didn't even mention, I really think that was very sweet to send off the character that way.
Yeah.
Like yeah, he was killed in 2, but the VHS tape that they leave for him in 3, I think is very sweet. And it cemented him as like one of my favorite horror characters.
Ever.
That aren't slashers or anything, just survivors, I guess. But he didn't survive. You know what I mean?
It's the only death. We'll get to 5, but for me, Randy's death is the only one that really stood out to me as, oh, that hurts. Like, as many times as I rewatch, I know you don't rewatch movies. I have rewatched this one countless times. On my portable DVD player, I'd go to the play place at Burger King, and I was a weird kid. I'd go in the tunnels of Burger King, and I'd just show these kids this movie, and I'd show them like Jaws, Halloween. I'd watch the Scream movies in there too. So I was the weird kid that parents wanted their kids to steer clear of. They wanted to watch all these scary movies with their children. But I've seen Scream 2 a lot. And that every time I see it, it still hurts because Randy's such a good character, and it still bums me out. But it's a very sweet and touching moment in 3. Before, they don't have Randy, so they have to create stand-ins. And there's 2 stand-ins, which is Charlie and the other guy, whose name I don't remember. Willow, do you mind doing some research for me?
Yeah.
So we continue
in
to
the
talk about
second,
it just
I wanna
occurred to me
point
I
out-
don't remember his name.
yeah, I want to point out that I want to touch on what you said. Yeah, I don't rewatch movies for the point of there's so many other movies out there that I don't want to miss out. Like even with my favorite movie of all time, A Clockwork Orange, I've only seen it like three times, 4 times. When he said that, like, yeah, I've seen Scream about 30, 40, 50 times already, and it's not even one of his favorite movies. He said he's seen Jaws like 150 times.
I can't even tell you how many times I've rewatched both the first and second Hellboy. It's too many. It's too many.
I guess I'm just weird that I'm just like there's so much more movies out there. Regardless, I'd rather like take a chance with a shitty movie than rewatch a movie I know that's good. That's how much I just want to see as much cinema as I can.
It's an odyssey.
Yeah.
You're going on a cinematic journey, and you're wasting time by rewatching the same movies you've already seen when you could be experiencing something new.
Right.
And I get that. It's like, why do the same thing over and over again? Because it's safe. It's cozy.
Yeah.
And horror for me, it's a very cozy place.
It's where I go. Like I think the movie that I've seen the most of is either the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Alien. Those are just my go-to.
Yeah, the atmosphere in Alien's very almost sleepy.
This is gonna be a really weird clip, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first one, is a comfort movie for me.
Yes, I agree. I put it on the background.
Yeah, I really like it. It's definitely like it puts me there, man. In the 70s, and like where it's like, we just like when the movie didn't come out, but like when I think of the 70s, it's just like we've got Bob Marley going on, we got Black Sabbath going on. We just missed Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix died in 72, I think.
R.I.P.
I think Jimi Hendrix didn't even make it to the 70s, did he?
I'm pretty sure it was 72.
Okay.
But it puts me there like grindhouse films, like this it's sleazy, but also it's the free love movement as well going on, which is such a clashing image, but just psychedelia, Woodstock, you know, that just puts you. It's one of those comfort movies because it puts me there in the 70s, and as much as I love the 80s, I also really enjoy the 70s.
That's the good thing about films, the time capsules that can take you back to these time periods.
Kiss.
As we're talking about,
podcast,
it's a time capsule.
Yeah.
It takes you back. But yeah, by the way, it's Robbie. That's
Robbie.
The guy. Yeah,
Okay.
Robbie and Charlie.
Yeah. I enjoyed Charlie the most. Kirby was good.
He's socially awkward, you know? You're like, oh,
I could be this guy's friend. Like with Charlie and how he interacted, it was so like I wanted it to work so bad for him and Kirby.
Until he puts a knife in her.
It's like I'm still kind of confused. I'm like, was he sitting on the knife? Where was the knife?
Because it was his pocket. I don't know. I don't know, man. I have no idea. But I liked Robbie. The whole scene where he's like, I'm gay. I'm gay.
Oh, that's funny.
It's a good line.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's just like it's a joke.
Because when I first saw that, I thought of you when you were saying about like because I think you said it on our slashers tier list that there are many slashers that you can't reason with. And one of them we thought about is Ghostface is probably one you might be able to.
This is a moment that proves that kind of wrong.
Yes, because
hindsight.
like it's so funny because his hesitation isn't because he's thinking about it. His hesitation is like, that's supposed to stop
I
me?
don't care.
Yeah.
Because he's looking at it from the rules perspective. Is like for some reason being gay excludes you from being on the hit list. That doesn't make you safe.
No.
Yeah, he stops. He's like, I probably think it's funny. I don't know if it's Jill or Charlie. It'd be really sad if Charlie's the one that killed him. But
he did.
It had to
He
be
did.
Charlie because
He
Jill
said-
was in the room.
He said because he was talking about his footage of him killing Rob
Ah,
and bragging about it.
it hurts more that it's him.
Yeah.
Also, the usage of, I guess,
But I guess we have to acknowledge the body cams because that is one of the. I know how you said that there wasn't much development, but the development is the storytelling within the story of this Woodsboro or what is it?
yeah, right.
Woodsboro.
Yeah.
That the killer's got to one up itself. It's filming. They're going to be filming them killing these people and uploading them to the internet. Quotations as it's a new thing.
In 2011.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet's around even when the first Scream came out, but this is the first one. I guess that's
I don't mean to.
again with my terrible analogy with Valve games. It's the same thing. I guess Wes didn't want to do anything new with Scream until he felt like the quote unquote the technology was there, that there was something new you could do.
Technology.
The webcams, it's a neat idea, like the whole idea of like red rooms and snuff films. It's
Were
not
Red Rooms
Huh?
a quote unquote thing in 2011?
Yeah.
Were we aware?
Well, there are red rooms.
Yeah. We'll talk about it later.
Oh, okay.
essentially filmed torture.
Yeah.
Isn't that just snuff then?
Look up Daisy's Destruction. That'll give you.
Don't.
Right now?
No.
No, not right now.
No, we're gonna.
In fact, don't ever.
Scream. We're talking about Scream.
So sorry.
Charlie, man, I love Charlie. He's probably my third favorite killer. Cause
Wow.
I really enjoyed him. Kirby was a phenomenal character. Sydney sucks. Jill was a bitch, which I was almost happy. I was like, oh, thank God she killed her. And then, but a part of me was like, she's not gonna be dead, right? And then I went, please.
I was really hoping so too. Not because I hate a character like you. I just, as they mentioned in 5, it's like essentially, how the hell are you still alive?
Yeah.
How do you keep surviving? In 4 especially, it's like they could have killed her. There's no reason they shouldn't have.
Almost every time.
Pretty much.
Billy.
Could have.
Yeah, Billy could have.
Pure
Roman
luck.
could have.
Pure luck this
And then I think at this point, it's the most just, I have plot armor. Fuck you. This is my one-liner. It's, but Kirby, Charlie, Rob, Gail is really good, as always. Dewey's really good as the sheriff. We didn't mention that. He's the sheriff in 4.
Got an upgrade.
He went from deputy in the first movie, then just being independent, but working with the police for these particular investigations, all the way up to 4 because it's a jump, a 10-year jump from 3 to 4.
Just like in the real world.
Yeah, and he's the sheriff. He's the sheriff.
Sheriff Dewey just doesn't have the same ring as Deputy Dewey. Really don't. Just rolls off the tongue.
But Sheriff Riley.
I mean, yeah. The Deputy, yeah. I like Deputy
I
Dewey.
feel like I didn't have enough time with Dewey,
Oh,
considering that I only saw the 5th one.
so
And now I'm gonna
that hurt.
rewatch them.
That
later.
hurt. There's every time, until like he was brought out in a body bag. I was already thinking, yeah, he's making it. He's making it.
You didn't see the intestines hit the ground, so there's the chance.
Yeah,
There's the off chance,
because he's been stabbed more than any other.
9 times, right?
Yeah.
Not like pretty much for every killer.
Yes.
He's been stabbed at least once.
Yeah.
That's some perspective, though.
Poor guy. It was a gut punch for me because I really enjoyed his character.
He died like halfway through that movie.
Almost half.
He even-
Almost half.
Yeah, you didn't get to spend a lot of time with him in that one. But to just kind of finish off 4, do you have any closing statements about it? Or are you pretty much done with it?
This is the stupid /4, stab 4, stab 5, stab 6
Or the
intro.
opening?
Yeah. I hated it. It is annoying.
I did like it.
I get it. I get why they did it.
Yeah,
It is
it's
annoying.
yeah.
It's funny that they have more stab movies than Scream movies.
Oh, they're catching up.
And then also the fact that like they said that like after 4, they were told to stop using their likenesses and stuff, or they would get sued. I think that was a really funny note that I don't think much people talk about.
No, I'm glad you brought that up. I don't think I would have mentioned that. Yeah, 4 is really, it's really Toy Story 4. I mean, really think about it. It's the same thing. It's just like with Toy Story 4. It's the first one in the series that just doesn't have to exist. The first 3, you could say no movie has to exist, but they all have a story. And when you finish 3, it feels concluded, and 4 is just tacked on. It doesn't have to be there. Oh, you
I'm
got
trying to think of a music reference, but
it's not coming to you?
nah.
Well, look, we've already made a few music references. I'm sure they'll come to you later. But yeah, 4, it's like Toy Story 4. It just doesn't. I'm glad it exists. I enjoy it, but it doesn't have to be there. And I kind of wish that it wasn't there. Which also leads me to 5. The one that Willow can now talk about at great length. Willow, you wanna lead the charge on this one?
No, because my memory's shit.
Okay, so when we talk about something and you remember, pitch in, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Scream 5 for me is the weakest. Again, to repeat what I said earlier, I don't think saying that is a bad thing, because if this is the weakest movie in your franchise, you're doing good. Some people say it's 3. Personally, I think it's 5.
I think 4 and 5 are on the same level for me.
I disagree. I like, first off, it should be noted that this is the first movie that Wes Craven himself did not direct, because R.I.P. Spoilers, the guy died.
How did he die?
Actually, don't know.
Should look that up.
Yeah, look it up. Tell us how
What's
Wes
his
died.
last name?
Craven.
Craven.
Because if you guys haven't said that like several times throughout the podcast.
Yeah.
Like the Spider-Man villain,
Yes.
Craven the Hunter.
That's with a K, though.
Yeah.
Oh, brain cancer.
He had brain cancer?
Mm-hmm.
I remember when he died.
2015, August 30th. He died at 76.
Yeah.
He lived a good life, and he left a lot behind.
We lost a good whole. No, okay, so it was George Romero and then Wes Craven died, right?
Yeah. It's close enough to be like, oh, we just lost 2 big hitters right off the bat.
Do you think that he would be happy with how Scream 5 came out?
Ooh.
What do you think?
I mean, it's stuff like that's really hard to guess on. I don't think he would hate it. I don't know. I don't know the guy.
Not to butt in, but I don't think Toby Hooper would have liked any of the sequels after 2.
Oh no.
He was very adamant that he was like, there's a reason why I shot 2 like I shot 2.
Be the nail in the proverbial coffin.
Yeah, he's like, a part of me wants to believe that he never wanted it to be like Halloween or I mean, it wasn't out.
He didn't envision it as a long-running franchise.
Yeah, I think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is such a enclosed. Like, if anything, you could do like what the remakes did, and have the beginning, having a prequel to find out how this family is, how it is, because it actually gives things that were touched upon, very like not even spoken, but like you could sense like the abandonment of the town that they lived in, all the businesses closing down and everything, and being a financial struggle to even get food. You know, that in the beginning, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, they had put more emphasis on it. That his Leatherface's mother worked at the factory. He was born on the floor of the factory, and then he grew up to work in that same factory just for it to be shut down.
Right.
I think that like if they did something like that, maybe if it was Toby Hooper's intention to be able to do that, but I think it was a one and done. Should have been at least in terms of talking about what original directors would have wanted them to see.
It's paradoxical that the franchise would continue as long as it did, because there's not a lot of these horror movies. They don't have enough meat on the bones to continue as a series. Like the first movie is an experience, and then when the experience is done, it's over. So now you have to fabricate and create something new out of what was left behind. But it's very bare bones from the original to begin with. And now that we're talking about Scream 5, again, it's all about the original. And if there's not enough with the original to make sequels, they're not going to be that good. You just have to rework the entire concept. Luckily for Scream, it's a great formula and it works, so the sequels are great. But like that first Texas Chainsaw, there's not enough meat on the bones to create a long-running franchise, so it doesn't make any sense. Like an oxymoron. Why would there be so many sequels to something that was never intended to have sequels to begin with? Toby made 2, almost like a joke. It's a comedy movie.
Yeah, a good example is running the Friday series for so long and having them be a deadite at the end of it, or having Michael Myers be part of a Celtic cult, being this undoing evil,
a druid curse.
Yeah,
because like
I don't think
you just gotta
John
create
Carpenter
stuff.
saw that
No.
in his original image.
Well, just like they didn't think that Sidney had a lost, forgotten brother either. You just pull it out of your ass because you want the series to continue. I just think that Scream does it more artfully, more tastefully, whatever you want to call it. But it always keeps it realistic to a certain degree. Where these other movies, they just go balls to the walls because they're out of ideas, because the original idea wasn't that strong enough to warrant a sequel to begin with.
I wanted more Billy in this movie. I think the concept of her being haunted by her dead father, whether it's like schizophrenia or just an actual like kind of supernatural aspect. It's light. It's a very light kind of supernatural thing because you could also visualize it as a mental disorder.
Which is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I wanted more from it than because it's like, yes, he was a serial killer. Yes, he was a sociopath.
It's also a great character.
Yes, a phenomenal character, but from the perspective of, like, it's almost wholesome that the Billy is encouraging his daughter to stand up for herself and don't be a victim like Sydney's been. Don't take action. Like, I mean, yes, Sydney takes action, but all she does is just be a victim in every single movie. And Sam just like, don't fuck with a serial killer's daughter.
Sam's a badass bitch.
Yeah, it's actually I enjoy Sam's character more than I've enjoyed Sydney's for the brief time we've had, because it's that perspective of adding Billy as like, you don't have to be like me, but know that you have the strength in you to use whatever like unfeeling towards murder or anything like that, even if she's not, whether or not that would lead to her being a psycho, which it's kind of, for me personally, it's kind of looking like that's what it's going to be in 6. But for me, it's kind of like her dad saying, no, it's like, you don't have to be like me. You can be better than me. Use your cunningness for good. Taking out Richie. I mean, yes, she stabbed him like Vard did to You're Anonymous 14 times.
I'd say more than it, probably 40.
Yeah, but in that kind of wholesome daddy-daughter kind of way. It's just like, you don't have to be me. You can be better than who I was. And I wanted more of that. I wanted more of that because it only towards the very end, I would have liked it to be more dialogue between them. More of like getting to the point where she understands that's why Billy's talking to her. Not to be the serial killer, but to, like, just because it was sprinkled throughout. It's like Billy's there talking to her to be like, no, don't run. Don't be a coward. Don't be a victim. Seek out this person and take him out. Don't be the villain. Don't be a coward. Be a hero.
Be proactive.
Be better. Again, circling back. Be better than who I was. You
Right.
know? But there wasn't enough. Like it was only like, no, I don't want to talk to you, Dad. You know, Dad, you could kind of have a good point, and then Dad was right. There was no like. I wanted just a little bit more time with the interaction between Sam and Billy, going intermediately, right? Rather than just big jumps to conclusions.
Well said. That's excellent. Now let me talk about Adventure Time. So pretty much, you've seen. Willow? I know you've seen. Willow, you've seen Adventure Time Distant Lands, right?
Absolutely.
So you know why I'm bringing this. Do you know why I'm bringing this up? Like why I'm making a comparison?
Might have an idea, but who are you talking about?
So in the Peppermint Butler episode,
Okay, yeah.
where I mean it's him, right? But
Mhm.
he's having visions of his past self as like the devil on his shoulder, and he's having this constant mental battle between his old ways, like who he could end up being, and then like the sweet innocent person he is now. That's like watching Scream 5. Yes, I was thinking about Adventure Time. I'm sorry.
Can I just say
Sue me.
real fast, not to just trail off for a second? Peppermint Butler was the bad guy in that episode.
Oh, he's always the bad guy.
I know, but like that was awful. Like that is a villain.
Yeah,
That
he's
man
terrible.
is a villain, and what he did to that poor guy.
You can go back to the original with what's his name? Peacemaster?
I think so.
Yeah, the fucking Puritan pilgrim looking guy. Yeah. He transmutated his children into monsters. Anyways, Billy Loomis did not do that. Which I want to harp on the wordplay in this movie. So one of the characters, the guy from 13 Reasons Why, I hate him. I hate him so much. Wes. I don't like his character.
I didn't care when he died. He was such a throwaway character for me. Oh my god. Oh, I didn't even mention. I hate Hicks. I wanted her to die in 4. I absolutely hated Hicks so much.
Oh yeah, it should be noted that you don't normally vocalize any opinions or thoughts during the course of a movie. You sit there in silence as God intended and just soak it all in.
Sometimes I make a joke.
Sometimes, yeah, like it's Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah.
We'll have some back and forth banner. You'll say a witty one-liner like Sidney Prescott, except yours are actually good. You made mention of the fact that Hicks died, and you were elated. You were exultant. You shouted up to the heavens, "Thank you! Thank you!" Hicks is dead, and the bells were ringing.
But then it was worse because Sydney showed up.
Oh, it was like a double whammy.
It's like
a real double whammy is when Dewey died, and then Sydney showed up in the next scene.
That's what it was. Yeah,
that was the double whammy. I'm just like back to back. Can things get any worse? Now Sydney's here.
Oh, damn it!
Do you have to just make it worse?
But no, I generally hated Hicks' character in 4.
You thought she was the killer in 4?
Yes, I actually did. I thought she was the killer, and part of that kind of wanted me to know. It's like, yeah, if she's the killer, she's gonna die at the end of the movie. But I really enjoyed Hicks' death. I hated her character so much, and we still haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure Hicks is the main chick in Scary Movie.
Pretty great.
I'm pretty sure.
You're so confident that you don't want to check?
I just want to keep it going. They can roast us.
Yeah.
You gotta have at least something for course correction.
That's true.
But I hated Hicks so much. Her character was naggy, bitchy, and trying to fuck Dewey, even though that Gail and Dewey was like, I think 4 is the perfect, like, they are happy together. It's working out. It just so happens that the killing started, and that's what started tearing them apart.
Right.
Because it was so sweet at the end of 3. Yes, 3, where he proposes to her, and she's like, this isn't gonna work, and Dewey's just like, I at least want to try.
It's so sweet. Even having not seen 3, even you're like, that's a touching moment.
Oh yeah, Dewey gets the girl,
No,
even though it's completely understandable. My man, time and time again, just keeps getting screwed over by Gail, but he loves her just the same.
half the time she doesn't even mean to. Like in Scream 5, she screws him over and doesn't even know it.
Yeah, it was one of those moments where it's like, yeah, I don't really say anything, but when Sam tells Gail, is like, if you didn't call him Tara would be dead, and I'm like, that was very bad. It's a bad taste. Basically saying, my sister is more valuable than your husband.
Mm-hmm. She was trying to play it off like he was a hero. He sacrificed himself, but
it came off to me that I was like, that could have been worded better.
Yeah. So Sam Carpenter, again, go back to wordplay. We have a John Carpenter reference in her name.
Mm-hmm.
The West guy from 13 Reasons Why. Not that I hate his character per se. And nothing against the actor, but he plays like the same douchey kind of guy.
I think that he has a very punchable face.
Yes, he's just like a again, just the aura the actor gives off. I don't know if that's really him or not.
Never met him.
Never met the guy personally, but I'd sit down and have a beer with him and tell him 13 reasons why I want to punch the shit out of him. But
first off, Scream 5.
Why does that guy get Wes's name?
Yeah,
because at the end it's a like in memoriam to Wes Craven. This is the first movie without him, and this is the character they name after the guy who started it all. It's not fair. Rubs me wrong.
It's surprising that 5 was the least amount of kills. There's 4 people died, 2 were victims, 2 were the killer. Everybody survived at the end of the movie that weren't killed at the beginning.
Name all the victims.
Hick, West, Amber, and Richie.
Nope.
Hick was that the stalker guy?
No, that's who.
Hick's the sheriff.
Forgetting. Hicks is the sheriff. You're forgetting Stu Macher's nephew.
Oh yeah.
The guy in the parking lot of the bar.
That was stalking. What was her name? Liz, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the douchebag. That's how inconsequential his character was.
Because he's played off like he's gonna be the red herring, but again, going back to what we were saying, he's so obviously like a bad guy that when he dies in the first 10 minutes of the movie, you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But
yeah, that's supposed to be Stu Macher. He's related to Stu Macher.
He has a really good porn mustache. I just put that out there.
This is a sexually charged episode. And of course, talking Scream and who's got the sexiest voice but Ghostface.
I think the reason why they killed him, not to be a red herring for him being the killer, I think it's for what's his name? Liz's boyfriend. What's his name? Chad.
Chad's oh no, Chad is Mindy's brother.
Yes.
That's who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liz's boyfriend.
Yeah.
To make him seem like he's the killer, because at the beginning of when we were introduced to the characters, he's got bruises on his arm, and he's like, "Oh, it's just football," and then it's like he's like on site with the guy that's trying to bother Liz, and then when he knows that the guy is like, "No, go ahead, try me," he's like, "Okay," and it's supposed to throw the audience off because it seems like Chad just killed the guy.
It's just too obvious.
Yeah.
And also, if a motive is given during the course of the film for why someone is killing somebody, it's not the person. It's always, like they say in the movie, something related to the past. It's never something that's given in the film for a reason why. It's always something that's happened before the movie starts. Yeah, so I'm trying to think what else there is about 5 that I really want to talk
with Tara at the fact that she survived like all that happened to her in
Two
Scream
attacks.
5. Like, holy shit. That. Oh, so much.
Wendy did a good job.
Yes.
Wednesday, excuse me.
Well, yeah, Jenna Ortega.
Mhm.
I've seen her Instagram photos lately.
Chandler, stay focused, all
Sorry,
right?
it's really hard to. We're talking about Jenna here.
What?
Can I talk about Sam real quick?
Yes.
Please, for the love of God? Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, again, I'm not talking about the actress or her acting abilities. She didn't sell me. She did a good job. Don't get me wrong. Like, the tears and the emotion she did was phenomenal, but it didn't feel authentic. Did you feel that? You felt that?
100%.
Kind of felt fake.
I wasn't a fan of her acting. I just think that's what it was.
When your acting is noticeable and I see you as a person trying to act, then it falls a little short.
Like Jenna did a really good job, especially
Of course.
like when she was in pain, like the hospital scene, for example, when she was like crawling away and she was in the wheelchair and she still had that injury in her hand. That acting just was so realistic. Like it genuinely looked like she was really like actually in pain. I thought that was really impressive.
Right. Sam she didn't just sell it. She didn't sell it well enough for me. But she did a good job where I wasn't taken out of the movie or its believability. But it's just a note.
I don't think that she should have been the main character, like the girl, you know? I don't know. Sam, yeah. I just wasn't a fan of her.
Story wise, Sam as like the character
Yeah.
should be the main, but the actress,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say anything. Maybe Scream 6 will change my tune, but as of right now, she doesn't have the star power or the acting chops.
She doesn't have the it factor.
Yeah, she's not it. I think Scream 6 will change that. I really do. I have a lot of high hopes for that. But as for Scream 5, she's okay. She's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. But again, not even a weak point of the movie. Just a note, an observation that her acting wasn't there.
Agreed.
Right. Jenna, phenomenal. Everyone else, phenomenal. The guy, what's his name? The guy who plays Richie. Who plays Richie? Because he's also Huey in The Boys on Amazon. And he plays essentially almost the same guy. Kind of. He's got like the same energy.
Jack Quaid, I think is how you say that name.
That's right. Oh shit! Is he related to Dennis? Dennis Quaid? You looked it up for me.
So let me see. Yeah, he is.
Oh, what is he like?
The son of actors Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid.
Why did I not know that? That's such
Holy
a
shit.
weird thing to not know.
Not to trail you off of Richie, but I wanted to know what you thought about Amber.
We're gonna when we're done discussing these movies, given our retrospective, we're gonna do a little tier list because those are fun to do. We're gonna do a tier list of all the killers, and to kind of just jump ahead of myself, Amber's at the bottom of my list.
Really?
Yeah. Why do you bring it up? Do you have thoughts on Amber?
Maybe it's just because she's a pretty girl, and I really liked her style, but I thought that, I don't know, I really don't know how I feel about her, especially because, like, Scream 5 is, I guess you could say, is the only Scream movie I've seen that I actually remember, because I literally just watched it. I don't know. I thought that Amber was okay. I liked Richie a lot more. I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts on her. I just kind of wanted to see what you would say about her.
My problem with Amber and Richie is they're just losers. They just suck. Their motive is trash. Like if you think a franchise is coming off the rails, right? How about you become a director, make a fan film, or just do what Roman did and start making stab movies? You course correct. The fact that you feel the need to kill people and then make a movie off of it. Who do they think they are? David Lee from the last broadcast? No.
There it is.
I don't know. What's a better running gag? That or the fact that Sidney Prescott survives to the next movie? What's funnier? Definitely not Sidney surviving. That's for damn sure.
Thank God she doesn't want to do any more of these Thank God. She's the worst part about Scream.
You want to talk about pitchforks and torches being raised? There
I
you
hate
go.
Cindy. She's the worst character in Scream.
I was really hoping she'd be the killer in 4. Like, I remember going to the theater thinking that she was the killer. I was hoping she would. She was so traumatized from all the past events that she became proactive and she decided to pick up the mask and the knife and become Ghostface. No, we'll save that for Scream 7. Or possibly Scream 6. Final thoughts on 5?
That's good. Good entry. Amber sucked. Horrible killer. Richie, I enjoyed it a little better.
Personally, I think the writing is weaker. The dialogue feels forced and unnatural. The characters aren't as strong. The legacy characters are great, but feel shoehorned in. It's the weakest movie, but it's not a bad movie. I just think they could do better. Speaking of which, Scream 6, which I do think will be a much better film. You got any theories, any thoughts? We just watched the trailer immediately after finishing 5 again. So, what do you think about 6?
I think it might be Sam. Being the killer. Either Sam or Tara.
Mm-hmm.
Sam or Tara is my guess for the killer. Because I feel like if we're letting go of Sydney, I think the best move moving forward is to continue with Billy Loomis as the concept first, with Sam's character at least. I think they could develop more on that, and maybe she does give into the evil side and kind of like says, "No, Dad, this is what I want to do." For at some point between 5 and 6, but I don't know. Tara might have that trauma that you wanted so bad, Sydney to snap.
I mean, there's no one around to witness it, but I get why Ghostface didn't kill her in the beginning of 5, because they wanted to attract attention to her. But at the same time, leaving her alive in 5, you could have easily killed her and people would have still shown up for the funeral. Why did she have to be alive? They left her alive for a reason. She's in on it.
Oh.
Despite the fact there was no witnesses, so why would they attack her with no whatever. How about this? You know how we were saying the nexus point for all this was Billy Loomis?
Yeah.
The real nexus point is Sydney's mother.
Well, yeah.
What if she didn't die? The whole thing was planned from the start.
Like
And
some jigsaw stuff.
Yeah, they are the cult of Ghostface, and it's spearheaded by Sidney Prescott's mother.
That'd be a draw. Too bad she's not in the movie to get that trauma dump to see her own mom.
Well, I'm just hoping whoever the killer is in 6, because we can speculate all the live long day, but I personally think it's one of the Carpenter sisters too. But with 5, it was so plainly obvious that it was Richie. Like from the second he pops up on screen, you know it's Richie. And when you see Amber, she's just got villainous eyes. Like she just got viper eyes. She just looks like the villain.
I thought that it would have been Mindy that was the killer.
I did at some
or
point
Richie.
think it was Mindy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she was in the basement?
Yeah, but honestly, Mindy was a really likable character. I really liked her.
Oh, yeah,
I thought
no
she was
point.
fun.
At no point. I was like, the second Richie came on screen, I'm like, that's the guy. And everything he said, too. For instance, when he goes into the hospital room with Tara, he says, "Sorry for intruding," which, again, is kind of like a play on the fact that he broke into her house and he was the intruder in her house. But in the moment, it works contextually speaking because he's intruding in her room right now. But he also intruded previously. Just like little lines of dialogue that, like when they get there and they're looking for Tara's inhaler that he has, but we don't know that till he's revealed. He's like, "Everyone get out. The party's stopping right now. I'm saving your lives." He's right.
Yeah.
He is saving their lives by stopping the party and having everyone leave, because otherwise he'd have to kill everybody there. So yeah, he did save their lives. Like,
I thought that it was really random that he started talking like at that moment. Like
all of a sudden,
just telling everyone to get out. That really threw me off.
all of a sudden he's taking this this initiative. But before he was the shy and awkward character, and now he's very confident and a leader.
I had suspicion that what's her name, Amber, right?
Yeah.
That she might have been the killer because she didn't have to shut the party down. Like they could have just grabbed the inhaler and just gone. But I don't know. Like she's just like, all right, party's over, everyone out. That's when Richie chimed in. I thought that was like very obvious. Like okay, so
Okay, yeah, these
something's
are the
about to happen.
guys.
Yep.
But I bring up that because to me that's also weak point of 5 is just how obvious. The obvious nature of the killers is so plainly stated in front of you who it is. It can't be choreographed better than it was. I'm hoping Scream takes a much different approach, and it's not just two toxic fans who want to bring the series back to its roots.
Fandom can't be toxic.
As he waves around a fucking gun covered in blood. A fandom can't be toxic. Whatever. 6. I mean, I joke, but I jest when I say this, but I think Stu can still be alive. I really do. I hope he's still alive. Because it's not implausible. Because think about it, just as we're saying, how they don't mention any of the previous Ghostfaces except like Billy and Stu. I think it's not entirely impossible for them to just neglect to mention the fact he's still alive. What, do you think they're going to go to him like he's Hannibal Lecter and talk about, oh, well, you were Ghostface, so how would you deal with the next Ghostface?
That'd be pretty sick.
That would be cool. But they would have done it already.
Yeah.
So if they do bring him back, they're going to have to do it in a different capacity than how they did a Hannibal Lecter. But, I mean, the series is derivative. They would absolutely 100% pull a Silence of the Lambs and have Stu Macher rolled out with the mask on and everything. And talk about fava beans. Like, it's a...
Scooby Snacks.
No, that's good. That's all I got for Scream 6 and my theories. I love the fact that it's in New York because it's the opposite of Alien. If Alien is in space, no one can hear you scream. In Manhattan, in New York City, you're surrounded by millions of people. And because there's so many people, it's almost like in Scream 2, in the theater scene. There's so many people running around screaming and shouting and bumping into one another. They didn't even have time to notice that somebody's dying right in front of them. You know? It's the same thing with this movie. Because, like, Woodsboro feels so empty.
Yeah.
It feels like there's like 5 people in the police department. Even the hospital. That fucking bugs me. Like, you go back to Halloween 2. It's like, this is a working, functioning hospital. Why is there, like, nobody there? There's no security guards. There's no nurses walking around. It's like 5 people.
We forgot about the cop that died in 5.
Holy, yeah. They took the gun. How did we forget that? He's such a big part of the movie. I need wine. Willow, can you please fetch me the Stella Rose red wine?
No,
You can't?
I can't.
Damn it. I'm going to have to get it.
It's empty, though, isn't it?
No, it's not empty.
Well,
I need some wine right now. My throat's getting dry and parched.
you have 2 waters.
I don't want water. I need wine. Shout out the Stella Rosa. Sorry. That's good shit. Anyways. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, the cop that died.
Yeah.
So, that brings us to what? 5. 4, 6. 6. Okay, a little bit more. But 4 from the killers. Yeah. So, in 6, the whole concept is... Hey, don't drink on my wine. In 6, the whole idea is they're surrounded by millions of people. Millions of ears to hear you scream. But no one will. I like that idea.
Nobody will care.
But going back to... Yeah, no one will care. It's a run in the mill.
Yeah, there's always somebody screaming, somebody yelling.
There's a crime on every block.
Yeah.
But with 6, I kind of hope they don't pull a Woodsboro on us, and with the hospital and everything, the police department. There's just nobody around. There's a few shots that worry me where you see alleyways and stuff, and there's just nobody. There's just always gonna be somebody around every corner. Even at 5 at the house party, no one's out pissing in bushes. No one's out, just like hanging out
First thing I
outside.
do at a house party.
Oh yeah, the house party. Usually the party is both inside and outside. There's
Oh,
people everywhere, like roaches. They're just coming out the woodworks. My concern is that 6 will be likewise, and there'll just be empty alleyways and pull a Jason Takes Manhattan, and there's just empty stretches. Oh, you feel strongly about that?
Very strongly, just like how I feel very strongly of Jason X. But we don't have to go into that right
I
now.
love Jason X.
It makes sense why you like it. It's sci-fi.
It turns into nanobots.
Uber Jason.
I don't know. I think that's what it's called. I can't wait for Uber Ghostface. It's coming. Wait till the 14th.
Stab
movie.
8 was Uber Ghostface.
Essentially
with
in
the
the
metal
fl-
mask.
In a flamethrower.
Yeah.
I mean, probably just a metal mask. Oh yeah, and he had like a hoodie on and like sleeveless. Oh, if you pay close attention to when Richie's looking at the tablet, you can see on the sidebar. There's is Stu Macher still alive in one of the videos?
Really?
I think it's a Dead Meat video.
Love Dead Meat.
Which Dead Meat actually stayed at that house.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
it's a hotel.
Is it really?
Not a hotel, but like an inn, I guess.
I
Would
wanna
be
go.
Oh,
proper term.
what is that called? Airbnb.
Yeah, I guess that's a more proper term for it. It's an Airbnb. You can stay there, almost like how again Texas. At Texas Chainsaw, you can go stay not the original house. It's a actually is it like a bed and breakfast?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's essentially like that.
I'm very interested in staying at the hotel that was shot in for The Shining.
The Stanley Hotel.
Yeah, because I've seen like a bunch of videos on it, and how it's like supposedly haunted and everything. I believe that, but I don't know. It'd be fun. It'd be so fun.
My apologies. Stephen King stayed at the Stanley Hotel when conceiving the idea for The Shining, but that's
I'm
not where it
reading
was
that.
filmed.
Really?
It was not filmed at the Stanley.
Really? I
No.
didn't know that.
It was a lodge, but yeah.
Fake news.
Yeah. So, Scream 6, very excited. Any closing statements?
I thought it was pretty funny when Amber came out crying, acting like she had been stabbed when Gail and Sydney had like just arrived, and then immediately realizing, oh, they know it's a trick, and just pulling that Glock out and immediately just starting to shoot at them.
Oh, yeah, because
and
they've been through
hitting
this so many
Shot.
times.
Shot Gale.
them. Mhm.
That got me. I was like, don't.
I
Don't.
really thought Dewey and Gale in the same film.
Yes. I mean, Amber even makes a comment. It's like, I will be remembered for not only killing Dewey, but I'm about to kill Gale Weathers.
Oh, when I first saw it, it really rubbed me a different way because I hate her character. But even like in the context of the movie, you're not supposed to like her. She's a bad person. She's a killer. I didn't like the fact that she's the one who killed Dewey. Of all these other killers, that stung. I didn't want her to be the one to do it. Hell, I would have preferred Richie to have done it. But the fact that it was her, this whiny ass bitch, no.
Maybe if Jill did.
I like Jill more than Amber by a country mile.
Amber's the worst. The worst killer.
Also on your list. She's on your bottom.
Yes. We also have to do the list before we.
Do you want to just do that now?
Yeah.
Screw it. Let's do the list.
So, there's no debate about it. Number 1 is Stu. Number 2 is Billy. There's no debate about it.
Everyone is going to agree with you.
You know,
Some people might interchange the two, but of course. Now, your third?
my third, Charlie.
Charlie.
It's a little out there, but I'm gonna go with Charlie.
You just like the guy.
Yeah.
Fourth?
Billy's mom. It was a good twist. Roman. Mickey. Jill. Richie. And then Amber.
Amber's at the bottom of your list too.
Mm-hmm.
So
What about you, Chan?
I'm gonna put Stu. Ours are probably gonna look very similar. Billy, Roman.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Then I'm gonna put Mickey.
Wow.
Then I'm gonna put Billy Loomis's mother. Then I'm gonna put Jill. Then I'm gonna put. Oh, why is this tough? Put Richie.
All right.
Oh, I like Richie, but
You like Charlie less than Richie?
I guess. So yeah, after Richie, I'm gonna put Charlie. On the very, very bottom in the Mariana Trench, we got Amber.
As she should be.
I think Mickey.
These too high on my list or what?
Yeah, a little too high.
First, it's probably biased because I just like Timothy Oliphant and he's in Justified, the show I'm watching right now. So it's probably a bit of a bias. I just like the guy. I think he's neat. So Willow, will you do honors and read off Slug's list and then mine?
Absolutely. So for Slug, he has Stu, Billy, Charlie, Billy's mom, Roman, Mickey, Jill, Richie, and then Amber. And then for you, you have Stu, Billy, Roman, Mickey, Billy's mom, Jill, Richie, Charlie, and then at the very bottom, Amber.
Disrespectful to Charlie.
I'm
How
sorry,
dare
dude.
you treat your anonymous like that?
How dare you treat Mickey like that? How dare you treat Timothy Oliphant like that?
I don't know who that was. I've never seen anything else. I can't remember anything he's ever been in that I've seen.
Well, guys, I think we've exhausted everything we had to say about the franchise. Especially
Don't
how many
ask me to
times
do it
I've said,
again.
don't ask you to do it again?
Don't ask me to do it again.
We'll talk about something else later. This was a really fun one. I enjoyed this.
Not the next episode, but the following episode, we'll be doing a full review on the movie, and hopefully by then we've caught Willow up, so she'll be ready for 6. I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, I think the last time I was super excited for a film was the Texas Chainsaw movie.
Well, that makes sense. He's your favorite slasher.
But
This one feels different. Just like they said, this one feels different.
yeah, it kind of seems like you don't get many Scream movies. We haven't. Like, in terms of actual slash. Like, yeah, you could say that Billy from Black Christmas got one movie, which he did. I mean, technically, there's sequels, but
Yeah.
it's one of those, like, with slasher sequels that it's like, yeah, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre has a second movie. Yeah, it's not as great, but we count it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Jason has like 17 different movies, but we count a good bit of them. But like, there are some, like the Tool Sorority Massacre 1. He's like, yeah, that's the one. I mean, we just forget about 2 or 3. Just like with, at least for me, Black Christmas. They'll talk about the second one. I think so with like the normal guys, because I would say Ghostface is more of a face of horror than Leatherface, as much as that pains me, in terms of the popularity. So it's interesting to see that, like, yeah, they're coming out with another one when it's usually like, yeah. Well, we were like, what year did 4 come out?
2011.
Yeah, we were almost, if not already, in middle school. You know, when you really put in perspectives, and then from then, last year.
Yeah, 2022, Scream 5 comes out. And then a year later, we get the follow-up. When before, there's always some kind of gap, whether it be a few years or a whole decade, like with 3 and 4. We are getting them. This is almost like Friday. Friday was like year after year after year. I don't want that to happen to Scream. I don't want to get watered down and just become any other run-of-the-mill slasher, because that's not what it is.
That's what makes Scream special, is because there isn't a lot of movies.
No.
I think that's what's good about really good horror movies is that when they don't get a sequel, that it's really solid. Like, there are perfect examples that some horror movies can have sequels that are still really good, like Sinister. I think 2 was pretty good. Like,
Solid.
yeah, and the original Purge, honestly, was a pretty solid horror film for me. Um, a lot of people might disagree. But
No, Purge Anarchy with the badass guy. He played Crossbones in Captain America: Civil War. He made that movie for me. But it's like, again, that's a sequel that ramps up the previous. The previous is all about like an isolated experience that really focuses on horror, and the point of a sequel is to up the ante, up the violence, up the gore. Saw for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the special thing about Ghostface in particular is that he doesn't get a lot of movies. He doesn't get one every year. He doesn't get plastered all over the place in spin-offs and this and that.
It's not oversaturated.
I don't
yet.
think. Yeah, I don't. Leatherface, Jason, Freddy have been in Mortal Kombat. I don't think
Michael wasn't there before Leatherface was.
Yeah, which was surprising that Leatherface was in it before Ghostface or Michael Myers. But for DLC characters, it would make sense that you wouldn't put Chucky in there, even though he's more popular than Leatherface and Ghostface. But in terms of that's how the game runs, no. But I am looking forward to it, just like I'm looking forward to Cocaine Bear. We'll definitely be talking about that when we go see it.
65.
And 65 with Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Adam Driver?
Yeah, Adam Driver. Let's just call him Kylo Ren.
I'm not expecting it to be a masterpiece, but I think it's going to be fun. That's all.
Just the concept of an advanced human civilization just stumbling upon Earth and the aliens being the dinosaurs.
Right.
That's cool. I really like that. And besides, Jurassic Park has a monopoly on dinosaur films. It's finally good that we're branching out and getting a different kind of dinosaur movie.
Velocipaster.
That honestly, dinosaur movies were dead until Velocipaster came out.
What's that?
Don't worry about it.
That's what we like to call schlock. Schlock movies.
All right. You know how in school we'd spell words out? Mm-hmm. We're gonna do this right now, right?
Okay.
So, what's the first part of Velocipaster? Veloci. Was it? Yeah, V. So don't actually write it. But just like in your mind, Velocipaster. What's the first part sound like?
Velocipaster.
So it sounds like Velociraptor, don't it?
Yeah.
And the word pastor, attach that to Velociraptor.
Is it a fucking dinosaur?
Yes. Yes. We solved the puzzle. It's a movie about. Isn't it like a guy who could turn? It's a pastor who could turn into a velociraptor.
It's a priest that could turn into a dinosaur.
Man, Jurassic Park's been real quiet after that movie came out. They even had to change the name to Jurassic World. They do.
Is it shot like seriously?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just like a sci-fi movie. Yeah. But yeah, speaking about an actual dinosaur movie, do we want to see 65? Of course.
Cocaine Bear. I want to see Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, but Cocaine Bear doesn't remind me of Turok.
It's based on a true story, Chandler.
Here, it's local. I mean, in a sense, it's Georgia.
Yeah.
It happened at Blood Mountain where that girl got decapitated.
A lot of stuff happens in Georgia.
We have a Velociraptor here.
Yeah, we got a cryptid.
Yeah.
He's only been spotted once, but we have him. He's here.
Yeah, he's here.
One day.
We'll
go up there with the camera.
Just have to go Sasquatching.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, we got to go to West Virginia. Maybe that's where the Velociraptor went.
Maybe we can find Mothman.
He's up in Chicago.
Right now, yeah.
Oh, damn.
He's holed out there.
Yeah.
Bus fare is real expensive.
What am I thinking about then?
Yeah.
Jerry?
Mayhaps.
Yeah, he's from there.
Yeah.
But
all that to say, I think we're going to round this one out. Any closing arguments, statements, concerns, thoughts, opinions?
I think you've been drinking too much wine.
I
Me?
swear to God, if Sydney's bitch ass shows up in the fucking movie, I'm walking
Oh,
out,
you think
Chandler.
it was a ploy?
If it's a ploy, I'm walking out of the movie.
Do you think she's not credited in the whole scandal with Nev Campbell not getting paid enough was simply to surprise fans when she turns out to be the killer in 6?
I hope she was underpaid.
Wow, that's very.
I don't know,
cruel.
Chief. Oh yeah, and just like this wine bottle, we're out.
Peace.
Bye.